I don't know how we've done it, but I keep forgetting what episode we're on because
Because we're
somehow we're
taped
ahead
ahead.
in schedule. I don't understand how that happened. We're like a week ahead.
Yeah. So, um, I'm literally trying. I can't even find us on Spotify. I have it saved. Where is it? There. All right. So this is 59. This is 59 because 57 came out.
Yep, we already got
Maybe.
58 buried
Man,
somewhere.
think of all the great 58s in the world. I don't know. I can't off the top of my head. I don't know what's relevant to the number
Chris
58.
Letang of the Pittsburgh
Um,
Penguins.
wow. Okay. Okay. Um, yeah. I mean,
Some
definitely Chris
linebacker.
Letang, no
I
doubt.
don't know.
Um, Jesus, I don't know. It's pretty brutal. Jack Lambert, that's far beyond mine and your time, but Jack
It's like
Lambert.
one of those old guy athlete names that you just know it has to be a thing. You've probably heard it, but you don't know what context. It's like someone saying like, "Oh, Jim Thorpe." And you're like, "Yeah, that's a guy who
In
did something."
baseball, in baseball, we have Al Albuquerque, which is another fantastic name. Al Albuquerque. That's good.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Just
58,
so
baby. That's in
yeah.
the books. And as long as we don't die during this one and it gets released, it's 59.
How about old
Not bad.
Sammy Santa Fe?
10
You know
away from
him?
the magic number. Sammy Santa Fe? You're
Yeah,
hmm, that's terrible. That's
yeah,
terrible. You
yeah.
could have gone with so many better. Like Sam and San. You just I don't know, man.
Man, it's Sunday morning. We haven't done a morning in a while, have we? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I don't know. It's been forever. I think we did it 2 weeks ago. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, is it good or bad that these are getting lost in the sauce, kind of? Where I'm just like, what number are we on? What week is it? What have we talked about? I don't know. We just keep pumping them
Well,
out. We're in
it doesn't
motion.
matter. It just none of it matters. None of this matters, and that's okay. It's okay that none of it matters.
Content is king.
Right. People are just
Ah,
listening to us chat. Whatever.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this. Age of convenience. His daddy worked hard.
oh, see, volume work there,
Good fade
right?
out.
All
Good
right,
fade
the
out.
internet
It's
is
just kidding.
catching
It
up.
just abruptly stopped.
It did. Okay, so it's not working. Oh man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Well,
Figure it
fix
out,
that in post.
Riverside. Never.
Something. Fix it in post.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to March and the madness of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have a big decision to make here, Mr. Jeff.
Yeah.
Do I
Yeah.
fly to your house with a ticket I already have, or
Mm.
gamble on a road trip with one of your best friends, a guy I know, but not well enough to where are we ready to be in a car for 10 hours together?
So the best part is that that's basically like how or how Bob presented it too. So
Mm-hmm.
folks, we have already talked about Matt is coming to visit during March Madness. Well, now Bob, the aforementioned Bob, is also going to be coming down. That's he had a last minute ability to get his schedule right to do this. So Bob is driving, Matt is flying. So Bob mentioned, "Oh, he's flying. Well, I can pick him up." He's like, "I don't know what we'll talk about for 5 to 6 hours because I've never met him, but I'm fine with it." So like This is an interesting one because I think a lot of people, I think we would have a good split room on this. A real good split room if people were being honest. Of would you fly just so that you can get there, you have your plan, but there's the money for it, or do you want a road trip with someone you just enough know so safety is not a concern?
Yeah.
Safety is out of it, but are you willing to
It's
spend
one step above hitchhiking.
5 right, and obviously 6 hours back, 5 hours back to Auburn, that's not the problem. The trip back, because after spending 4 days, you're gonna talk about what happened on the trip. You're gonna be able to acclimate a lot better. But hey, man, I'm here to pick you up, and then you put your bags in. You do the weird exchange of like, oh, should I put these in the back of the truck or in the back seat? Or okay, yeah,
Should
no.
I put
And then
me
he
in
has
the
to tell
back?
you the nuances of his car. Like, no, you have to move the handle a little, and like these things. And then you're like, all right, and then you like shut the door, get yourself situated, and you buckle in, and you're just like, so.
Well, here we go, Dad.
Yep. It's like Matt's first day of school.
Well, Bob in podcast context is, you were best man. He's been one of the 50% that survived, right?
Yep.
And I mean, we've known him. He's been in our fantasy football league for however long it's been, 15 years. No, was he there like a couple years into it? I don't remember. But
he came in 1 year into it, I believe. He came in year 2.
So, don't really know him, but he does respond to the podcast sometimes or texts about it. So love that. Definitely want to ride with a stalker fan in the car. Just go.
This is actually potentially our first giveaway.
Yeah.
We're going to call this like the winner of our first contest is you get to road trip with one of us.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I know, I feel like I know him as well as anybody else that I don't really know, but sort of, we obviously have good banter, through text messages.
You both participate in fantasy football quips and stuff like that. And that's important to me.
Yeah. Don't take it too seriously. But it could be a story out of it. Or it could end up having to fix a flat tire. Could end up, what if it's wintry? What if there's a wintry mix? Then what have I done to myself?
Wow.
Do I want to be alone in an airplane? It's tough. It's a tough decision. I'm really 50-50 on it, honestly.
That's great.
And it's not even about the Bob thing. I think it's more of a, do I want to be on a road trip? Is that it? I mean, I really just got to text him and say, like, what day are you going and what day are you coming back? That's really the hurdle I got to get over, just the logistical one. So I'm sure I could figure out. I can't get my tickets refunded, but I'm sure I can put them towards another flight.
I was going to say, is there can you do like credits?
Yeah. Because then the thing is,
they gift you a gift card.
If I don't go with him, then all of a sudden we're both there anyway. And I chose not to go with him. And there's that part of it. It's like, hey, how would you drive alone here? Yeah. I definitely said no to.
The best part is due to complexities, your flight is basically taking the same time, actually probably longer than Bob's drive.
Stops in Newark. For some reason, it's like impossible to find a direct flight that wasn't like at night.
I was just surprised that there's flights from Philly to Newark.
Yeah, like seems pretty quick.
Is that a helicopter, the second leg of it? Like what? Like they putting you on a hang glider just facing you south and put you on a high building?
That is true. They must get up to like 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
Because even like going from Syracuse to New York, it's like 50 minutes,
dude,
45 minutes.
Newark to Philly is like 100 miles.
That's what I mean. So even that feels so short, Syracuse to New York. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I read that right. But maybe from Bob, it was just an empty offer as well. Maybe he knows. Oh, he's got a ticket already? Well, I would have picked him up. I could still pick him up.
Yeah. That's the playful, like, that's like someone That's like someone being like, "Hey, man, I got this round," and you're like, "You sure? Okay." Like it's the asking someone if they're sure after they volunteered to do something. I'm gonna start if someone goes, "You sure?" I'm gonna start reneging and just being like, "Hey, man, yeah, I can go pick you up. Oh, you sure that's not a problem? Nah, you're right. It is. Never mind." Anytime someone
Yeah.
asks, "You sure?" I'm just gonna change my answer.
It's like it happens at work all the time. I'm working on something or a project, and somebody comes by. I think they're trying to be friendly, but it's like, "Oh, you need any help?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm done already." And I feel like you can see that I'm already done working on whatever this is. So,
Like, yeah,
great,
yeah.
great move though.
There's a display of like soup cans, and you're putting up the last can. There's a bunch of empty boxes behind you, and they're like, "You need any help?" Fuck you. You know I don't.
Well, then sometimes I'm just like, why don't you focus on what you should be doing? Basically, why don't you do your job and just do it well?
Is it
I get
someone
what
like?
you're trying to do, but
Is it someone that reports to you? Because yeah, that is kind of ironically
I mean,
funny.
technically, everybody does in a way. Mostly, I mean, outside of like my managers,
Mm-hmm.
um, but whether or not they, somebody that needs, I mean, for various reasons. I mean, it's weird because I'm like in store operations, so I'm not necessarily anybody's direct supervisor of their day to day. In a way, like
Right, you're
somebody
not
in
doing like
seafood or
HR
somebody that works in
admin
the
stuff
cart.
for them.
Yeah, but in a way, I can be because, but whatever. We get it. We all. I don't know what I do. That's what I'm saying. I kind of don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Listen, I am still
Uh,
figuring out exactly
yeah.
what I'm supposed to do every day
But
when
I
I
mean,
come
I
in.
could.
So I just start doing
Yeah.
stuff to make sure that I look busy.
But I can. I mean, I can ask people to do things or whatever, as long as it's for the best interest of the store, or whatever the store needs are, that kind of thing. Um, but
Ah, yes, the biggest
then I'm like,
blanket of them all, business need.
yeah. And then people go, "Hey, do you need help with this?" I'm like, "No." And but why are you here? Why are you out doing your thing that you're supposed to be doing? No, you're not
Mhm.
on a break, and I'm sure you have stuff to do. So you can go.
You're
That'd
like
be awesome
working
if you
on
just wanted
something
to do that.
outside. You're working on something outside, and a produce person just comes over and they're like, "Do you need help?" And you're like, "I need you to do produce."
Yeah, basically that kind of thing. But I appreciate the
Mhm.
offers, empty or otherwise. So we'll see. I guess I'll have to make a decision before this episode is released. But what do we think, Strange Fam? Do I get in a car with somebody who's in a surviving marriage, who I don't know well, but Jeff can vouch for? I mean,
So,
I do need to get make and model, probably, right? Should I treat it like an
well,
Uber? Like, am I in on the? He's probably got one of those married SUVs, huh? Just
no,
something really
he's
sensible.
no, 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 no. Bob is not sensible. Bob's got a big boy truck. Um,
Oh,
Bob,
yeah,
yeah, Bob's got a brand new flashy truck with all the bells and
like
whistles,
Texas
and I
Ranch.
love that truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ooh, that could be
So
fun.
safe ride, very safe ride.
Good.
Sits high up, so that's a maximum comfort. I will vouch for the maximum comfort of this ride.
All right. Well, Strange Fam, I'll
I'm
pull. I'll
excited.
put
I'm
in a
excited to
poll.
find out what the answer is, regardless of what the answer is. That's the best part.
Yeah, if you're I mean, I guess I just got to reach out to him, but yeah.
I
Either way,
would
there's
have
gonna be a
loved to
story
leave
out
this
of
to
it.
Flint. I would have loved to leave this to fan voting. That would have been something special.
Maybe I can just put it on the next episode, and we'll talk about it the week after. This is what happens when we're too far ahead. We've really
Yeah.
put ourselves in a bind here. All right, shall we wheel of convenience?
Wheel can do that.
I sort of forgot the ones we did last year. We're getting too far ahead on that too. That I'm like, I don't remember if we did this thing that I already wrote down here or not. But that's the real treat of this show is nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, somebody does care. Uh, I forgot her name. It's like Laura
Is it
or
one of our moms?
Lori, or starts with an M. No, but I was at the front of the store the other day talking with some people, and this woman comes up with her son. She goes, "We just listened to your podcast. It was so funny." And I was like, I was looking around, and I was looking around, like, because I was talking to like a police officer and like our AP just hanging out, and I was like, she must be talking about one of them. This does a podcast. I was like, because I don't know who this is. I rarely get people who I don't know, saying something about the show, and it was definitely the one that had just come out. I mean, I don't know if that's the one that they listened to, but it was definitely after the one about the abortion and all that stuff.
Me and my
And all of
adolescent
our
child just listened to your abortion
yeah,
episode, and boy, were
and
we thrilled.
I know, and I was like, oh, geez, I'm sorry. It's not really PG-13. She goes, oh, he doesn't listen to it. I can tell, like, does he? He doesn't? Or okay, that's after bedtime.
Okay,
You
I
guys
don't know
listen
what
to
this
our
exchange is
podcast,
now. We listen to
but
it.
she
We
says she
meaning
knows
me.
you, so right in. I should have. It was in the moment where I asked for her name, and I didn't register it. Just kind of blankly. It was like still surprised. I was still like, what? What's happening? Who watched this? Saw this that I don't know. But yeah, StrangeFam, send in, respond, let us know.
When did this
But
happen?
it's like 2 days ago.
At Wegmans. So okay,
So
so someone that knows
March
me
1st.
saw you at Wegmans.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well, hey,
yeah,
thanks for listening, folks.
a year in, and I got terrified by a fan. That's all it took. It was so funny though, because I don't know why I didn't put it together. Like, why could she put? Wait, she's not talking to me. There's no way. Must be talking. This cop must have a podcast.
You should have doubled down and been like, turned to one of the people you're talking with, been like, I didn't know you had a podcast.
Well, then it turns into like she leaves, and then they go, "Wait, you got a podcast?" And I was like, "No." It was like, yeah. Whereas I should be like, "Yeah, here it is. Here's the name of it. If you guys want to listen to." I'm more like, "No, I don't." I'm so bad at promoting it. I actively
I actively turn it down. I stop other people from promoting it.
Yeah, don't. You wouldn't be interested. All right. So I don't know where that came. Oh, we do have a fan, a couple.
Mm.
We know there's a lot of you out there. Dozen and dozen. Let's go. Good, the bad, and the ugly. It's kind of our basically cute way of saying what happened this week. Maybe some good stuff, some bad stuff. Yeah, all over the board. I can think of some of that.
I'll let's see. Why don't we do want to go back and forth with our goods and then our bads and then our uglies?
Ooh, I like it.
Okay.
Look at us. We're really taking it to another level.
Let's start off on a positive note. So,
that's why I thought you were going to say, do you want to start bad and go good? You're like, no, let's just start good. And then
start good
switch,
and let's just
and then
trend. Let's trend worse. So, inspired by our conversation and your hot rec, I actually, when I go to the gym, if I'm feeling up to it, I would say about 75% of the time after I work out, I do about 10 minutes in the dry sauna. And I opted for one of my mornings to do a 10-minute guided meditation on Spotify while I sat in the sauna. In not only doing that is that an accomplishment, but doing it while there's other people in the sauna. Because like there's a couple things like it's telling you to do like breathing tempos. It's counting like your breathing tempos and stuff. And so it's like, I mean, it's not drastic. I'm not doing like calisthenics in the sauna, but like, my eyes are closed. I'm listening to something and I'm like doing very focused breathing. So I don't know if people
are you lipping your counts?
Guided. Yeah. So 10 minutes. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a little uncomfortable doing it around people in such a small room, but
yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like affirmation stuff, which I definitely could use regularly. So yeah, I think the 10-minute one was really good. It was easy to do, and I think it's kind of nice because it's also like a self timer. Because usually that's what I would do in the sauna is about 10 minutes just to sweat out some toxins. So I think I'm going to keep trying to do that. My goal this week is that any sauna trip I do is going to be self-guided meditation instead of scrolling and looking at like sports scores and stuff like that.
I too had, similarly. I mean, I've done it at work now, just sitting in a chair, just up at the desk for like a few minutes. Like, The other day I had to be in the sub shop for like 2 hours, which is like one of the things I hate the most. It sucks. I'm really not like into food or making food, and I work at a food store. That's something I may have to reconcile at some point. But and so I went up there and I did a little bit of meditation, but it was an because now it's different because I'm the first few times I did it, I was just like laying in bed. I had it on YouTube or the sound, so it was like I got into that mode of it. But now I'm like I'm trying to take it outside, different spots, and then also similarly, um, on the cam the other day, just a little meditation. I was like, hey, instead of scrolling through, let me just breathe here. Let me just have this moment for myself. I mean, my legs are gonna fall asleep anyways. So instead of flipping through the phone, let me just like be mindful here. Let me
Wow.
really feel everything. Let me see if it really relaxes me. Let me get this
Man, I'm not
tropical
sure that's
snake
when I
out of
want to get
here.
centered is taking an aggressive poo. I'm
I
not sure
swear, I
that's when I
wouldn't say it
want to
was like,
feel everything.
it wasn't, it wasn't like full meditation, but it is getting to the spot where I can start to like at least try to do something, some kind of mindfulness outside of just like having to lay down in bed and do it in a guided way. I mean, I still prefer it that way so far, and I've looked up a couple apps that I'm going to try as well, like the Calm app or some other
Mhm.
visualization one that you can use to help you meditate. But there's like a million ways to do it.
Can I ask you something? Do you find meditation to be like a form of sleep? And the only analogy I'm using that for is like how to properly go to sleep. We are laying down with our eyes closed first, as Caitlin had previously put it. We pretend to sleep in order to go to convince our body to go to sleep. So,
It's the way
like,
you should do
is
it.
that the same with meditation? Is that at the beginning you're kind of going through the motions, but you eventually get into like a actual different sensation state, right? Like that. Accurate comparison. Like at first you can't just jump into it, but I'm guessing the longer you do it over time, the easier it is to jump into the full meditation because you're more accustomed as to how to get to that state. So you could do like it's easier to do a 10-minute meditation when you're experienced in it because you can fall into that good state quicker, probably.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I guess that's why it's like a practice to do it.
Right.
And but I think it's also within it itself is that you just get better at it because the idea is that you do let go. I mean, you center on something, whatever it is, a sound, a feel, your breath, and you always go back to that one thing to keep yourself from, extending your thoughts too far out. And so by doing that, I think you probably just get better at it, and then it applies to other situations in your life, just like everything else. So there is a bit of a like maybe there is a bit of a placebo to it at the beginning in terms of like going through the motions, but it's functional. It feels like it anyway. So
You're going to start
I don't know.
meditating at like red lights, stuff like
I
that,
guess you
you know,
got to believe it. Yeah,
really small aspects.
you
So
must
yeah,
believe in
maybe
it.
maybe in the drive down with Bob, you actually completely meditate for 5 hours. You actually
Yeah,
don't talk to
do a
him.
5 hour
You just use
meditation.
that as meditation time.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. God, the
All
two
right.
of us.
The ba- what a buddy comedy.
That's
All right. So
classic us.
the bad. Um, we had a lot of rain here yesterday. I don't know what New York dealt with, but we had a good amount of rain all day yesterday. And my sidewalks are getting more and more flooded. And it's weird because no one else on the road has their sidewalk flood like mine does. And I want to fix it, but fixing a sidewalk just sounds like it's something expensive. So I don't want to do that because it's a sidewalk. And to be frank with you, I don't use the damn sidewalk that often. So I'd like it to be clear for strangers, but I'm not going to drop a lot of money to clear the sidewalk of water for strangers. So it's just annoying. It's annoying to look at. I don't like dealing with it. I want to run out there with like a massively funny squeegee and try to squeegee it off. I've tried digging like little divots to have it like rush off to the sides, but the problem is when there's a lot of rain, we have a curb on our road, so I can't even dig like a divot to have it drain into the roadway. So I'm in a conundrum where I don't know how to fix a flooded sidewalk. So
Is yours like
that's the
level with
bad.
the rest of the sidewalk along your street, or is it like sunken down?
It doesn't look it. I think so. There, it's like it's obviously like individual concrete slabs about 3-4 feet wide, and they, as all sidewalks do when they're like that, it's like they kind of like with the earth moving, they shift and stuff. And so I think just a couple of them seemed, I mean, to look at it when it's dry, you would not assume, looking down the line of my road, you would not assume like, oh yeah, that one's fucked when it starts raining. Like, it doesn't look drastically different. So I don't get it. Cause I like looked down the road yesterday. I'm like, I'm literally the only person with a flooded sidewalk. So I don't know, man. But I also don't want like people to come out and be like, yeah, I can fix that for $2,500. Yeah. And I can leave it for $0. Like,
Well, because I get on my normal running route, there's a couple houses, one in particular where if it rains, it's just deep. It's like a little pool. It's not even that. It's like maybe half an inch to an inch across, but it's like I always have to go to the road. It's like it's mildly annoying. So I definitely mentally judge that person in their house, and I'm like, this person is a dirtbag, and they
should
will
not
not
the
fix their
city
sidewalk.
fix it? I didn't put down the sidewalk. I feel like that's public domain.
I mean, I'm okay with that too. Someone's got to take care of it though, because my toesies cannot get wet. Do you live in the kind of neighborhood where people would judge you? I mean, do you see people walk outside onto the street around your house ever when it's raining?
Not a ton. Not a
Or wet?
ton.
No.
I do live between on like 500 feet away. I have a bar, and I do live near on the other side of me. I'm like a block and a half away from the train station. So there is some bar foot traffic, but I assure you that I don't give a flying fuck what the bar patrons think of me,
Sure.
because they can be loud in the summer and they're piles of trash. So they absolutely can go F themselves. So other than that, we have some people, but my street's not horribly busy. So like a lot of like people walking will just walk in the road too. Um, Caitlin and I probably run more than, are the ones using it more than anyone. We don't have a ton of walkers around our area. So it's not a high traffic place. So I'm not horribly concerned with the opinion of those around me, but it's just annoying for me to look at.
Yeah. I don't know why I would have thought you would have been worried about your neighbors anyway.
Yeah.
No offense.
I'm good with the two neighbors on each side of me, and that's the people I care to make sure that they have a good opinion.
That is
we're
important.
good with both the neighbors on each side.
I'm gonna merge my good and bad together since I sort of piggybacked on your good, but can apply to my good and bad as well. This week I got my blood test results back from my psychiatrist, and it was well, number one, I waited till the day before. I had like 3 weeks to do it, so I went definitely 24 hours. I procrastinated on that. Tells you how pumped I was to find out about the results, but turned out pretty good. So he's like, yeah, everything looks pretty good. I guess my cholesterol's a little bit up, but not like worrisome. But he's like, yeah, do you ever eat fast food or like anything? I was like, actually, no. Like, I don't really do fast food, and I do a lot less dairy, red meat, and that stuff in the last like 8 months. He's like, yeah, if you're cooking with this oil, I was like, I'll stop you there. Don't worry, I'm not cooking with any oils. Don't you worry.
Oh no, I don't cook,
worry.
Sir.
Yeah. Just worry your pretty little face. I'm not doing any of that. But I was like, honestly, if you would have taken this blood test like a year ago, it probably would have been high. I'm guessing I'm trending in the right direction, so I'm not overly worried about that. But he's like, yeah, kidneys are good, blood sugar, like liver's good, and I was like, it is. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe
your liver's good.
Like,
Doc, you don't have to lie. I feel like it's inappropriate to lie.
You're just trying to make me feel better, and but that was good news. The only thing that was really down was my vitamin D. Need more D in my life. You know what I'm saying?
That's what she said.
And but it makes sense because I was like, yeah, that's the one like in the sun and stuff, right? And he's like, yep. And I was like, okay. I get.
Now I get. Yeah, I'm definitely an indoor kid, sir.
Because I was like, I still run even when it's cold out, but it's like it's just gray all the time here. And so it adds up. And I told him, I was like, well, it's fun because I was like making this joke before the winter because I had this great summer of like kayaking, fishing, being an outdoor kid. And then all of a sudden, fall was coming and winter. And I was just joking with people like, I'm about to be real sad again. I was. And a lot of it's probably because of the D. So now, I told him, I was like, well, I also lived in Texas for a while where it's like sunny all the time. So maybe my body's not adjusted. Um, or who knows? I mean, I don't eat as much dairy, and I think isn't there vitamin D in dairy too? Is that
Yeah,
the thing or
right.
no?
Milk's a vitamin D
But
thing, ain't it?
sure enough, your boy's got himself a vitamin D prescription.
Give me a hell yeah.
That's like I didn't even know they made it in prescription. they
Yep.
sure do.
Is it for vitamin D3?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm on a once a week thing, and I'm like, wow, maybe everybody who lives in the Northeast
Once a
should
week.
have this.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I take it once a week. This pill for 8 weeks, and then I'll go to like an over the counter kind of daily thing because it's so much in each pill. It's like I also have to fist it into my ass. It's really involved. Yeah.
It's it's a we call it the
Yeah.
sunshine suppository.
Yeah. But I guess it's like so much. It's like, and then I was like, I take this supplement, this AG1 thing all the time, and I thought I had D, and actually I even take a tincture of it, like a drop every day. That's supposed to be 125% of my daily value bullshit thing, and it still isn't enough.
Okay.
The lack of sunshine in this part of the country is truly detrimental to life. It really is. I tell my mom about it. She's like, "Yeah, I have that too." So I'm sure some of it is like genetic in terms of like how we process it, each one of us,
Sure.
and use it. But I gotta imagine there's a lot of depressed people up here during the winter, and I mean, it's just it, you know. But it's like, yeah, you'll feel it after like maybe a few weeks. You'll start to notice it. And I was like, even after the first one I took, I mean, I felt like a notable boost in mood already.
Yeah.
But you say I can help with depression, anxiety stuff, and I was like, good, let's start there. I like it. Yeah. So if that's the worst thing about my blood test, maybe part of me is like, he's lying because he knows I'm gonna freak out if he tells me something. He's like, well, we'll just address one thing at a time. It's like,
no, I think there's really a big legality problem with the doctors just straight up lying to you about your results.
Yeah. Everything's okay.
There's probably it's probably a big Hippocratic oath issue with that.
Yeah, one of your biggest anxieties is your health and wellness. Yeah, I'm just gonna lie to you about this stuff. Yeah.
That'll help, right? That helps anxiety, just straight up fucking lying to you. I don't know how, I mean, that's pretty bad good. Or that's a good bad. That's a good bad to have.
I mean, I am going to pay attention to my cholesterol though, but it's just good to have like.
That's good.
Now I have a baseline. I've gone many years without like having a baseline because it's truly embarrassing when somebody's like, "Well, who's your primary?" And I'm like, "Don't have one. I don't.
Right.
I don't do this."
Dr. Seuss.
Like, where do you get your prescriptions filled? I don't. I don't have a thing. I don't do that. I don't.
Let me call my mom.
I do not have a history.
Who's my pediatrician?
Yeah. But now I do. I have at least a baseline. A couple things I can work on. It's not as bad as my brain likes to think it is, but we're getting there. All right, we're getting there.
Yeah. So the ugly is I'm nominating self-study work when you're working from home. So basically, instead of teaching a class the last couple weeks, I was told, hey, listen, we need you to start teaching this other class, this other series of classes sooner than we thought. So we're going to pull you out of what we have going on right now, what we have you scheduled to teach, because we can afford to move things around. So you're going to be responsible for just learning all of this stuff that they just throw at me. They're like, here's 7 classes that you're eventually going to have to teach. We want you to learn all of this stuff and go through all the teaching materials and everything on your own over the next 2 weeks so that you can prepare for it. And I am really, really not good at that type of focus. Like reading. So first of all, as you can imagine, insurance material is not glamorous. It's not funny. It's not anything. Like it is very technical. It is very policy wording, interpretation, stuff like that. So like I'm reading all of this material and then how to teach it and everything like that. And I'm just like, I did all of what was asked and expected of me, but it was tough. Like I can't just, it's sitting in my office, logging in and just staring at stuff for 8 hours. And it drains me. Like it makes me feel I can, when you're someone with anxiety, you're worried about being able to process that, but you're also left with so much time and silence that you can process everything else in the universe too while you're doing it. And it's horrible. I want to be speaking to people so that my brain has to be engaged in something more intense. So yeah, that was ugly. I got through it. I got through all the material that I needed to, but it was a rough go.
I mean, is there like one of those things where it has like little self knowledge checks at the end to make sure you read it, or do you just have to honor?
No.
I mean, you would just be exposed basically if you don't know it, obviously, because you're the
Yeah, I
teacher.
mean, so it's interesting because it's a crazy concept of how it works because I'm teaching material that I'd never done as the job. So like this is a specific division of uh, uh, insurance that I had never worked in, but I'm one of the trainers for it out of like 7 people. So I'm learning this material only to turn it around to teach other people it. Now I have a guide, of course, that
Just got to stay one day ahead, right? Classic
yeah,
teaching
that's I mean
fashion.
that's literally what it is. Um, so it's kind of interesting. So the wild part about it is that it's the good thing I've gotten is don't act like you know the answer. Never act like you know the answer if someone throws a curveball at you and just say, "Yeah, I don't." That's a great question. I don't have that answer right on hand, but I'm going to look into it and I'll get back to you. Like that is the most biggest play I've ever done, and it's fine to do. Like it's better than just acting like you're not. So you can still maintain students' trust by just saying, I don't know, but let me find that out and I'll circle back with you. And then I can hunt down the people who actually could answer that question. Um, so it's a good skill to have as opposed to trying to pussyfoot around it and lie to people. So I'm fine with it. I used to be a lot more worried about teaching stuff that I'd never worked in personally with experience because a big thing is being able to give my own experiences within my work that I've done over the years helps. It helps explain things in layman's terms a little bit better when you can give real life examples. When I don't have that, it used to scare me to do it, but now I know it's just more about presenting the material. And if there's questions along the way, answer the ones you can and don't answer the ones you can't. And if people see you admitting that you don't know everything, they stay content and will listen to you.
Yeah. It's, especially as an adult to try to have to learn things again like you're in college. I mean, you know, we've heard about your college successes before, so to have to do that again as an adult, like reenact that, it's got to be like it's so hard. I think about that
It's
now with
weird.
like homework or like if I had to like I still have that as a nightmare once in a while, like having to write a paper. Like I can't believe. I mean, not that they were great papers, but I couldn't imagine writing 15 to 20 pages on something like ever again in my life. Sounds like just um, even though people do it every day, and it's kind of like one of the easiest hard things to do. It just it's that idea of just doing one thing for like 8 hours a day, or maybe it's just us. It's us ADD riddled millennial kids. All we need is our video games.
I
We
never
can't
liked
study.
papers though. I never liked papers, and I never thought that papers really were the proper way to assess knowledge either. Because I think I think listen up, academia. Jeff's brainstorming here. I think there should always be one of three options. You should always have an option for a test of knowledge, and that should be a test. You can take a test, you can write a paper, or you can give a presentation. And I think all of those are that you should be able to knowledge check people on any of those, and people just aren't good at one of those three things. They can avoid doing that because in reality, that's not the true application of knowledge. Like, do you want people to be intelligent and process this information correctly, or are you just trying to see what they can muster up for that thing? Because no one's writing a paper and being like, yes, I'm so educated on this. You're sitting there with other pieces of information and you're kind of putting a bullshit series of things together. But I don't know. I've never liked papers. I'll take a test over a written paper any day, and I'll take a presentation over a test. Presentation all day. I'll stand up in front and talk to the class for 10 minutes about a topic as opposed to writing a paper or taking a test. Which of those three would you rather? You're the paper guy, aren't you?
Well, I think the idea is that you have to learn it because you have to be able to figure out how to get something done that you don't want to do. Also, that would be an application of it.
No.
You have to be.
Don't
Sure
teach me
do.
a life lesson. Fuck off. No. No.
I would do the presentation, obviously. For now, who I am in life, I would do presentation. Probably in college, I would have said do the paper because I probably didn't have the confidence or the experience in doing presentations. And now I'd feel I've done it so many times in my life. I'm very comfortable with it.
No, I disagree.
I'm wrong. Is that wrong?
Yeah, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. Well, no, but it's applicable to your job success too. So like that's the reason why you can be successful at your job. But I'm always a person of like, instead of trying to build, like finding out what people do poorly, instead of trying to build up what they do poorly, I'm more about playing to people's strengths. As long as they're what they're not great at, if there's 4 qualities of like a worker and their lowest one, unless that's adversely affecting, adversely making them unable to perform a task, don't work on building that. Play to their strengths. Group people together that have different strengths, but let them play to their strengths. Like if you have a group project, I don't want the person who's not good at writing papers to get experience writing a paper. If they're good at presenting, have them be the presenter. Have someone else who's good at writing papers write the paper. Like, I think as a whole, the machine works better when people play to their strengths. I think we worry too much about trying to boost up to par everyone's opportunities.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
I think that works in like regular life and in a business thing environment. I feel like if you're going to college, though, part of it is you have to learn the disciplines and have some reps at it. Maybe it doesn't mean, maybe there's a world where not every class has to end in a paper. I could see that. Because I think it was like just the default. Like every class you have to write some
How many papers am I writing
paper
in my job? How many papers are any of us writing in the real world since college, Matt?
Yeah, but if you go to college, some people may want to be in academia or they have to learn to create arguments. I'm saying, so I could see eliminating
so take those
some,
classes that focus
but
on that.
Also you have to have more reps at it. And where else would you learn to do it except at college?
But why? Why do I need to know how to write a paper? Why?
Well, you don't have to, but then you don't have to go to college either.
No, but see, there's writing classes. Let the people who need to learn that do that. I don't need to write a paper in my marketing class when it's trying to be like, well, we're here to make you better at marketing, but I also want you to write out this 10-page paper on marketing. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not here to write papers. And marketing, if I am going into marketing, I'm never going to be writing detailed papers. So why are we're judging people on their skill that actually isn't the topic. The topic should be what we're trying to teach them, but we're judging them on their writing skills.
All right. Well, I sort of buy your argument, but if you could put it in like 5,000 words and send it to me, I'll give it another look.
I'll give you a presentation on it, you bastard.
Yeah.
Well, we are disagreeing on this, so that is the ugly when it boils down to it.
I had a truly ugly this week. My bathroom sink had been draining slowly over time, as it would. I was talking like, you know what? Let's Home Depot this shit. Let me figure this out. I'm not much of a mechanic of any kind. I mean, fortunately, I can YouTube anything because I'm real smart. But that is the way to go for anything. But I was like, the sink I can probably figure out. I got a little sink plunger. Let's give it a shot. So one night, right before I was going to go to bed, I was like, it's draining. I
Perfect.
hit the sink plunger, just basically exploded. Probably 10 years worth of whatever was under the the sink. So definitely from people that lived there before I did, and it was so much, and it smelled so bad that I was just like, I can't do this tonight. I just left it. I can't even. This is so disappointing. I was not ready for this. So I just turned on the fan.
I don't know
in
why
the
I started
bathroom.
this.
I know. It's like I wasn't ready to take this on tonight. I don't know why I did it.
Well,
So I got up in the morning.
the worst is
Yeah.
like that. It was so ready because you're like, so right before I went to bed, why would you address a plumbing issue right before you went to bed? This should be a 2-minute fix, right? Mm-mm. Dude,
I don't
it's
know
really
why I
weird
thought,
though.
yeah, I'd be like, oh, it'll just
I,
be like, I'll just
I'm
plunge,
literally
a little bit will come
planning.
out. I'll put a.
I'm literally planning to clean my sink today, like to get under there, undo the plumbing and stuff, because mine has been draining slowly. So it's incredible you're telling this story because I'm going to be doing that this afternoon.
That probably would have been the better way to do it. Just like take off that little, whatever you call it, the little U joint there, the elbow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the technical word for it. But I was like, God damn it.
Jake,
It's just like so gross. There's like long hairs in there. Definitely weren't mine. And I don't know. The next morning I got up, and so I took a paper towel to the gunk that had come up. I did it again. Then I realized, well, I should just take the stopper out of here. That'd probably make it a lot easier. So I tried to get that out, then realized it was screwed in. So I had to unscrew that. And as soon as I took the stopper out, it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Just years of gunk. It was like a
dude,
railroad spike of shit.
yeah, like the trap, the U-shaped thing, the trap is going to be so gross. Like you have
Yeah.
to just, yeah, it's amazingly gross, like sinks. But it's better. Like I feel like as a kid, your brain was always like, well, if a sink gets plugged, you just pour liquid plumber or Drano and the problem's over. That's not. I've tried using draining supplies like that before. It
Mhm.
has rarely worked in my experience. Like in
It'll buy a
reality,
couple weeks.
yeah, at best. But the reality is you do have to take it apart, and they are hilarious, like mousetrap contraptions. Because you're like, okay, if you pull up the stopper, there's this little clip below that you unhook, then which will make the stopper be able to come out. But then you also have to do, and it's literally like 3 parts are connecting. So like getting it back together is kind of squirrely for a non technical person. But I have done it before, and
Yeah.
I got to do it again this afternoon because yeah,
I
it's
definitely put the
struggling.
stopper in backwards. Um,
Okay.
but that'll be a project for next year. Flip it around. The next person who cleans it can do that.
There you go.
I mean, it still drains. It drains real nice now, real smoothly. But God, it was so gross. It's my
Yeah.
first time really having to do that. I mean, I've done like the shower drain before, which isn't any better, maybe worse, or not. I don't know. They're both equally disgusting, but I got it done. It felt good. It feels good to like do like the most basic house project. I even tell my dad, like, "Hey, Dad, you're gonna want to hear this one. Listen to this carpentry I did." I'm
Right.
a real Bob Vila. Wait
My
till I tell you
my
about this project.
yeah, my problem is I want to do all of those things. I just my anxiety takes over and I'm so afraid of like the house exploding if I do something wrong or just like generally screwing it up and I get like frustrated with my inabilities to do stuff. So like I always wish I just had someone who knew what they were doing because I'm like I'm willing to put in the time, the man hours, everything like that, the money. I just don't know how to do and I don't have that type of confidence. So again, folks, remember, teach your kids trades. College is a pile of bullshit. In 2024, it's a lot of money, won't get you a job. So teach them trades, and then they can help come. They can come help me. Your 20-year-old can come help me.
I would like to read a thesis on cleaning a sink.
Yeah, yeah. And then if it's a bad wording, I'll be like, that's okay. He probably knows what he's doing. He's still knows more about sink cleaning than me. So a D for grammar, but good news, we're not grading on grammar, so you get an A because you said the word sink a lot and a lot of words that sound technical.
Dostoevsky and the Bathroom Sink, a treatise. There you go, 10 pages. Some teacher. That's very creative. What a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Metaphor.
the
The fuck you talking
the
about?
self-torture of Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment after he murdered, much like the self-torture of not cleaning one's sink for 5 years. Great play on that.
All right,
Very
Russian
unique.
studies. That's enough for you. You're saying a lot of Russian stuff.
Wheel.
All right.
Ah.
One more spin. Go.
Another
wreck.
hot wreck.
That's hot.
That's so hot. I'm trying to think. I originally had one up here. It was a movie on Hulu that I enjoyed. God, I put that up like a month ago. Do I still like it? That's a good question. I do. It was called Self Reliance. It's on Hulu. It stars Jake Johnson. Is that his name? From The New Girl, that guy.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, I know
Um,
who you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was kind of this movie. I couldn't tell if it was like dystopian or it was meant to be kind of like in a current time, but essentially it's like the dark web has a game show that people can watch. And he plays a guy who's invited to be on the game show. And the idea is that someone can kill him. He has to survive for, I think it was 30 days. I think it's 30 days. And he just has to live through it. The only way somebody can kill him is if he's ever alone. So he basically has to spend time convincing like his family, whatever, that like he's in this game show, but nobody believes him that he's on this thing, and he's like perpetually trying to like go to like his sister's house or like his mom's house, and they're like, "You're crazy," and then like so it turns into like people just thinking that he's crazy, he's schizophrenic, or he has some kind of like mental health crisis that he's working through. But he does meet a girl, uh, Anna Kendrick is in it, who is going through the same thing. So then they try to stay together, but there's just different reasons why it can work and doesn't work. And to me, it was like also maybe I was just sensitive to it. It seemed like an allegory on like anxiety or something, or how do you like explain it to your family, or just needing to be around somebody, like and not be alone, like in your thoughts or something like that, escaping that. So the whole movie, I couldn't tell if it was really happening to him or if it was all in his head. But there is a resolution to it. But it's a fun. It's like sort of like a dark comedy. I would say it's more drama, but there's definitely funny moments to it. But I just like it's kind of a unique world. I like movies that aren't IP that always has existed. It's just like it was just something different, something that I could relate to in a different way with my own personal experience. And it was like an hour and a half, and it's on Hulu, so it's fun. It's a good
Self-reliant?
watch. Self Reliance, yeah.
Self-reliance?
Mhm.
Interesting. I will go to something else. For Christmas, I got my first Lego set gifted to me. I had never been a Lego person.
You didn't have any as a kid?
We had Legos, huh?
I'm trying to think. You didn't have any when you were a kid? Did you have one?
We had Legos at the house, but like not sets or anything. It was just a pile
Not
of
a set?
bullshit
Okay.
Legos. And so, like, I mean, as a child, I might have messed around with them, but certainly nothing after, 10 years old. But obviously now the bigger concept is that it's all sets. So I got an Office Lego set, like the Office TV show Lego set, and you build the entire office. And one thing I did like is kind of like the idea of, doing the work around the house that we were just talking about, is that it's nice because it's just a pile of just chaos in all of these different numbered bags. So you just go bag by bag, and there's a massive instruction booklet to go through. It was like 180 pages of work.
Wait, how big is the set?
and-
How many pieces is this thing?
probably pieces.
Is it the whole office? Like
Yeah.
the
Like,
layout?
well,
Oh my god.
the main office, the main area, Michael's office, and the conference room. So not like the
Mm-hmm.
annex or anything like that.
Okay.
But pieces, I don't know if I had to guess, like 2,000 pieces, maybe more. I don't know. It's a lot. It's really intricate. There's 11 different phases, 11 different numbered bags to go through. But like, it's really cool because it's almost like calming because you're just building per instruction and you get to see it slowly grow. But also I really appreciated the like intricacies. It is big time made for like office fans because there are so many tiny little details, and they'll put things from like single episodes in. Like there's the drawers open and close from everyone's desk, and like there's a cabinet behind Angela's desk where you put a cat in the cabinet because she kept her cat at the office and stuff. So like it's not even,
Yeah.
it's literally to open the door, put a tiny plastic cat in, and then shut the door. Like you're not even supposed to see it, but it's supposed to be there. Like they do things like that. And so it's just weird intricacies. And I'd never done Legos, but I'm like, this is really calming. This is really something rewarding to do, of just like sitting and putting your brain focus on something like that. The biggest issue I have with it is I'm like, so then what? Like now I've built a Lego set
I
and I'm
know.
like,
Yeah.
all right, I don't know where to put this. Like, and I don't like, what, like, do I just then break it at some point and try putting it back there? Cause that's going to be impossible because now the bags aren't numbered and the things and stuff. So it's like, I can't even like, I don't even know how I would go about trying to redo it. I couldn't. So like I don't know what to do with it now. So now I have this built set. It took me probably total, I did it in like 2 sessions, and I think probably total I took about 7 hours to do it. Um but I'm like, so now what do I do with this? And so like that's the kind of weird thing is I want to keep building, but Lego sets aren't cheap, and it's just like I don't want to keep building stuff and then keep having the thing and being like, so now what do I do with it?
Yeah. Do you
So
set up like a little museum, a little display?
right. I don't know. But the act
I think
of
I've
putting
seen
together
people
Legos
that
was
do that.
very rewarding. I liked it a lot.
I've been meaning to because I was definitely a big Lego kid. I mean, I had a couple sets. I had like the bucket, the Rubbermaid filled with all the Legos. I have been wanting to do it again. It is so fucking expensive though. It's like, oh, I'd love to build the Death Star. What's that? $1,200?
Right.
Aren't these for
Okay.
kids? It's like that's kind of weird. Like, but I appreciate. I mean, I did a. I have a buddy who does actually has done like a lot of the Star Wars ones, and I've seen him like the Millennium Falcon. Like he does a lot of the Star Wars ones, and they look so detailed, so cool. And yeah, the idea of putting it together seems so fun. I did a. I spent like a week or a couple weeks once doing those. I don't know if you ever seen it. They're called like metal sheets, but it's like a very small. They're like index card sized sheets of metal that you pry off, and then you like mold. You basically like it's like a small, kind of like erector set, but without like fasteners or glues or anything.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of like building a little model, a little miniature model. And I did like an X-wing version of it before. They have like different ones, like you can do like bridges, dragons, whatever you're a nerd about. Um, but it was really fun to like sit there at a at my little desk and just work on it. I found it, yeah, in a way like it was sort of a meditation to just do there. Like, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but sometimes you had to like fold things over into a circle, but then fasten them together. Some of it was really hard. Some of it was relatively simple to put together. But I liked it. And then yeah, at the end, I don't even know what happened to it. I was like, then all of a sudden I had a little metal X-wing, and I was like, what do I do with this now? I don't know if
Good.
it's cool enough to display. I don't know if I want anybody to see this, but I
Right.
like it.
How do I?
You know?
Who do I tell that I did this? Who do
Yeah.
I share this with?
But there's something about having like an activity that's just for you. Maybe we need more of that. That's a rec. Yeah, just like have something that you don't have to share about it or don't have to show it. You just do it because you like doing it, and it brings you 7 hours of peace and I don't know, something mental positivity. But
Like
it's also doing something.
I've always
Yeah.
liked putting together like furniture, like that. I enjoy that. because like there's instructions to go like putting together like bookshelves or anything like that, TV stand. I've always enjoyed putting together furniture. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm like, dude, I can't wait. I'm going to put on a movie and then just sit there and build this thing. And like, it's so enjoying. Like, and so those are nice because they're practical. You get to put together, it's something you wanted for the actual end product. So it's like, joke's on you, IKEA. I needed a bookshelf, but you also gave me the task of building a bookshelf, which I thoroughly enjoy. So it's nice when it's a thing that's practical. So I'd love to have that ability to do practical things, because then I would think the task is like a bonus.
Yeah, and it's also just engaging in a hobby and doing it versus just passively going through your day. Because I feel like you can get stuck in judging yourself for like putting together a Lego set or doing something that you're like, now why am I wasting my time doing this? And it's like, well, because otherwise I would just be sitting on the couch staring at a
Right.
screen.
Let's
It's
be
like, at least
honest.
now I'm
You're
doing
not
something that
you're
I
not
like
passing
doing.
up
Yeah.
other things to do this thing. This is the thing. Don't be
Yeah.
mad at yourself for doing this thing. This is the thing.
Yeah. Like it's so hard to like let ourselves, I'm judging everybody, but to like let ourselves have hobbies that to just do something. It's like the hardest thing in life sometimes is just do something,
Mhm.
versus doing nothing. But once you do, it can be very rewarding, even if it's building a Lego set or an X-Wing or going to the doctor. Like it can be, just simple things, little hobbies that just keep us
Going
going.
to the doctor.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, well, we're an hour in, and I think that's a good place to stop.
It's a very good place.
Because I'm going to go to the gym now. It's a little hobby I got. I'm going to go be productive.
I'm gonna try to go. I don't know if I'll go to the gym, but I would definitely want to go outside because it's nice here. I'm gonna go outside and walk later. I should choose a destination so I can then go like, okay, I got here, and then turn around and walk back. But maybe I'll venture somewhere I've never walked before or something like that. I like to
Ooh,
keep it interesting.
there you go. Maybe I'll use an elliptical I haven't used before.
Oh,
Just feel like I'm in a different part of the gym. Look at a different TV. I'll feel like I'm completely lost.
there you go.
It is
There you
weird. I
go.
do use the same elliptical every time. I don't know
That is
why.
weird.
It's just like habitual. Nobody's ever on it. I don't know why, but I always use the same one.
Because it's Matt's elliptical. It's labeled.
Dude, should I get out of my comfort zone today and sit in front of the Fox News TV?
Oh
Do the
boy,
elliptical.
talk about really getting out of your comfort zone, huh? Do they
Yeah.
literally have like different ones? Like I wish there was a Fox TV and CNN TV next to each other.
I think there is. Yeah.
Good.
I usually go in front of like the ESPN / CBS one because when I go to the gym, usually around like 11 in the morning, on most days, I can catch up on sports highlights and Price is Right. Like that's a good
Ooh,
angle.
that's a good 1-2 punch.
It's like a double dip. So that's
Yeah,
usually why I go there.
Sports Center is really easy. Sports Center should just be on loop at gyms because it's easy.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'll look over at the CNN TV and I'm like, oh, that's depressing. And I look back. I'm like, I can't be in front of this TV. This is
Yeah, man, you're
things
getting
aren't
into
getting better in Gaza,
election year stuff. Pretty soon, you're not going to be
Oh,
able to avoid
God.
just bullshit political nonsense. Aren't you excited?
It's
It's going to be shoved down your
Lego
throat.
set.
I just need a Lego set. Bring me happiness.
That'll be my next election night plan is to just do a Lego set. Just like that'd be good for the world. Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
either way, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna have to
Hurrah!
D up. I'm gonna have to D up for election night for sure. I have to get the D from the both ends.
Put up your defenses and your vitamin D. That's a triple entendre.
I'll go with it.
All
Triple D.
Yeah, diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
It's a great
All right.
show. Guy Fieri's a national treasure. Good night, everybody.
Wrong guy.